one of the things that I would want us to know is that we are closing churches day by day. How many of you understand that's happening? And how many of you know that with the paucity of African American United Methodist churches, the rate at which we are closing is absolutely alarming? And therefore, it is very necessary for us to have people who are beginning to be developed to lead in places where we can strengthen those churches as well as plant new African American United Methodist churches. And what we know is several areas are ripe for evangelism with no or very weak African American United Methodist churches. Example, in the Commonwealth of Virginia, we have several places where the population of African Americans exceeds 50%. And we have absolutely zero African American United Methodist churches. City of Petersburg, 53%, no African American churches. City of Richmond, over 50%, 2 African American churches. City of Norfolk, 54%, 1 African American church. How many of you know we're missing opportunities? And if we say that our intent is to grow the church with more people, more young people, and more different kind of people, it seems to me, I may be wrong, that we might want to initiate some efforts in strengthening churches in those areas and making them attractive. But we need LEADERSHIP, leader what? Leadership. And evidently, we are not currently producing the kind of leadership that we need to make that happen. So therefore, no UMC leaders for turnarounds or plants. Leadership is by recruitment. And everybody in this room knows that when we ain't got what we need, we do go looking for it. Yeah. And what we do is we cannibalize the connection. No key African American leaders in our connection right now are leading African American. They were all shaped and formed in particular places. And I can list them to you on, well, 1.5 hands. Next slide, please. So and this is an idea that we've been praying over for a long time. But in SBC 21, we are now launched a project called the Academy of Interns. The logic of it is that we would identify potential vital African-American clergy leaders in seminary who are committed to full ordination. Somebody say that's important. Place on staff of a congregational resource center or paired with some of our dynamic leaders to pick up their DNA for inculcation of that growth, mentor relationship with proven leaders, and supplement in partnership with our United Methodist Seminary, say amen, Jan Love, with intentional curriculum in leadership, justice systems, organizational behavior, the stuff they did not teach us in seminary. Strategic planning, conflict resolution, church finance and stewardship, and clergy self-care. Thank you. Next slide. Our approach would be to identify 5 initial candidates because we want to spread this out across the jurisdiction, 1 per jurisdiction. It doesn't mean that the candidates will all come from those 5 jurisdictions. It just means that we need enough to begin to supply our jurisdictions. How many of you know we get thinner the further west we go until we get to LA? Somebody say yes. And to secondarily identify 5 congregational resource centers, mentor pastors. We have to identify 5 annual conferences within each jurisdiction with the need of starting or turning around our churches. And here we need to continue to work out issues around compensation and as it relates to our relationship with SBC 21, there is a need, Beth, to continue to think about the supervisory relationship for provisional candidates and how that happens between 2 annual conferences. I think we can do that. Do you think we can do that? And the result would be after that 2-year period to take those persons who have inculcated that DNA, instead of putting them out in those little 4-point charges that we have for initial, where they get frustrated and decide they don't want to do ministry anymore, and put them in places where they can use their gifts and graces, bless the church, and build the constituency that we all seek to have.